All right. Hey, everybody. I am your host, Peter Brown. Thanks so much for staying with us. We're a little bit late tonight, but we're, as always, having some technical difficulties. But thanks so much for spending your Sunday evening with us. And I, of course, cannot do this alone. I am here with my partner in crime, Uncle Ed. Say hi, Ed.
How's it going, guys? Nice to see you. Well, for you guys to see us. We're ready for another show, Peter. We have to apologize. We weren't on last week. There was some issues with technology, and Peter's really good at that stuff. So apparently now we're good.
Well, hopefully we're good. We were a little bit late today. Still having camera issues, and I installed an update on the computer and all that kind of stuff. So we're hoping for the best. But we're here to talk. We're here to talk soccer with everybody. So let's have some fun tonight. And as always, you guys in the chat have a lot of control over what we talk about in the show. So if you want to direct the show, please feel free to do so. But thanks to everybody. Thanks to Anthony Manzano that's in the chat. One World, One Goal that's in there. Eric Thomas, how you doing? So thanks for you guys that are in here on a Sunday evening with us.
I kind of feels like Romper Room. Remember Romper Room when you were a little kid? You're looking through the little glass thing. I don't know if you remember that show.
I mean, I remember it, but I don't remember that piece of it.
Yeah, she used to look through the thing and tell people everybody's name or whatever. She had like a little, yeah. Anyways, it was a long time ago,
Ed. How was your week, Ed?
Good, man. Ready for some soccer, and especially for the MLS final. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, me too, as well. Hey, before we get into all that stuff, let's just burn something real quick. We want to talk a little bit about the Inter Miami Academy kids who played some games yesterday against Atlanta United. Atlanta United, I think, is going to be one of our main rivalries, maybe even more so than Orlando, right? Because they're good, and we're hoping to be good. So
they're good. They're good in the academy level too. So we've lost a couple of those games. Inter Miami's academy have lost a couple of those games. I think it was. Do you have the scores?
Yeah. So the U15s, they won 2-1 against Atlanta, and the U17s they lost 5-2 to Atlanta. Ouch. And the U19s lost 1-3, and so we're checking out some images of those guys. And Ed, you could criticize the U17s and U19s that they lost, and maybe they're just maybe slightly weaker than some of the U15 team or whatever. But hey, this is pretty. If you look at everything that they've done and all the teams that they've played so far in MLS, they've really done a good job against most MLS competition. This is just the beginning, and look at it. I mean, they're showing strong, and competing. Okay. The U17s got blown out, but everybody else, I mean, they're doing well.
They've been doing rather well, considering we just started, and all these other teams, they've had a couple of years where they've already they've got more experience than we have. We just started, and I'm sure that that are still out there ready to be discovered, and that maybe Inter Miami hasn't found yet. But let's see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. So. Good job on kids for showing pretty well. Not the best weekend this weekend in Atlanta, but it's a good start. I have a lot of high hopes for what kind of talent they could bring in the future. I mean, like it is a hotbed of talent. Like One World, One Goal is saying, South Florida has just got so much talent to choose from. So this they came out of the gate swinging, and so far looking good. But you know what? Losing a few games here and there against stiff competition is good. This is the academy. At the end of the day, is it's school. It's soccer school for these guys. It's an opportunity for them to learn, and you got to learn how to lose.
Right, and I think I don't know if it's under 14 or under 13, but one of those teams hasn't lost a game. So that's pretty good. The other teams have already lost a couple of games, so they know what it's that it's not as easy as it was in the beginning. When they first started, everybody started winning and by big margins. But now, Now they're starting to play the better teams, and they realize they're not as good as they thought they were.
Exactly. All right, so let's move on, and let's talk about some of the fun stuff to talk about. Some of the player rumors, and constantly the rumor mill is you see some people on social media that they've just given up. They're like, I'm just not going to pay attention to any of the rumors until it's officially announced. But for me, part of the fun of being a fan are the rumors.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. Well, we know that we already have five players that have been announced. One of them, we know that the team is acquired, but he hasn't been announced. Victor Ulloa.
Well, at least we think so. I mean,
he's from FC Cincinnati. He's a defensive midfielder. Inter has acquired his rights, but they haven't announced him. So I'm thinking, Peter, maybe they're thinking about dealing him somewhere. I mean, that I would have imagined they would have announced him by now.
I don't know. They're a little bit slow on some of the stuff, and we still don't. We think we know he's coming. We know here's the thing: is we know he's leaving Cincinnati because he basically put out a tweet saying, "See you later. Thanks for the year." So we know he's leaving Cincinnati, but we don't know for certain that he's coming here until it is officially announced. But we feel pretty good about it, right?
Mm-hmm. Because it came out also in the MLS website, and they're not just going to say anything. So
the MLS website is also reported on every other rumor, just like we have. So
it's news. It's news.
If any reporter in Argentina tweets something out, MLS is going to report it, and so are we, right?
Oh, of course we are. And there's been talk about Argentina. There's been tons of it. Well, we already know we have two Argentinian players that have signed for us, and that is Julian Carranza. He's with Banfield. He's a forward. He's our only forward so far, but everybody else is in the midfield, Peter. We've got Matias Pellegrini. He's a left winger. He's been scoring goals too. I think this weekend he scored a goal with Estudiantes de La Plata, and the only defensive midfielder that we have is Christian Macun.
Well,
who incidentally he's really tall, man.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, maybe he ends up playing center back.
That's something that I was thinking about. One of the things I was worried about too is if you were watching some of the MLS games, most of the teams don't have good defenses. Look what happened to the Galaxy. Great offense. They have Zlatan who can score 30 goals in a season, but they'd score 3 goals and they'd get 4 goals in, so they'd lose. That's how they lost the last couple of games.
Right.
No defense. So I'm worried that Inter is not getting any defense.
Well, we'll go into this maybe a little bit later, but if you watched the MLS playoffs, which I know you did, you realized MLS doesn't do defense anymore.
They forgot about that, yeah. But that's not good if you go against the Mexican team, man.
Yeah, no, it's not. But right now, that's the current flavor of the month. No defense. We're just going to score 5-6 goals and not worry about defense. Right.
Well, we were talking about Argentina, go ahead.
But as far as you're talking about defensive and defensive mid, that is one of the rumors out there. Is that Javier Mascherano, and he plays defensive mid, doesn't he?
He's defensive midfielder. I'm worried, Peter, because if he does come in, I wouldn't want him to come as a DP.
Right, and I think most people would agree with you. Most of the comments that I've seen online totally agree with what you're saying. He's currently playing for a club in China. Hebei China Fortune. That's a name. But he's playing in the Chinese Super League.
Thank goodness you said it and I didn't. I was waiting for you to cover that one.
Well, I don't know how well, or I don't know how he said it. But what are your thoughts on that league? Do you think that league? How does it compare to MLS? And would he be prepared to play in MLS after spending some seasons over in China?
And so he basically went over there to make a big paycheck because he was at Barcelona first, it's a downgrade to go to China. Everybody goes there. You know, all these people are getting paid crazy amounts of money to go to these teams in China, but it's not one of the best leagues there is. I'm afraid he's may have lost pace. He was never a fast player.
Right.
You know? So I'm worried that he's going to come over here and he's not going to be able to catch up. We've got fast players in the United States, and they're just going to be running circles around him. So, you know, he is a defensive midfielder. He could also pay back in defense. But I'm worried that he, 2 years of vacation and he may have lost his form.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think he's an exciting name to bring. Is he still?
Mm-hmm.
I think he may have lost too much as far as speed. I would agree with you, but you either put him in defensive mid or you actually move him to defense as well. So as you get older, you move further back. So
Further to the back.
but it can't be DP money. So it's got to be some targeted allocated money or TAM or GAM. Which
Right.
I know a little bit of what they are, but I don't, and I know you trade for it. Each team is given a certain amount of TAM and a certain amount of GAM. And if you want more of it, you can trade away some players to get some more of that money that's like extra money to spend on a player. So you could buy down a contract using those kind of methods. So
Right.
I imagine that's what would be done with him.
There's also been a couple other players that have been mentioned.
So another one that's been mentioned right here is Sergio Garcia or Sergio Aguero.
Aguero.
How do you say it?
Just say Kun Aguero.
Oh, that's easier. You know what's easier, Ed? Is Sergio.
Yeah, there you go. Or they call him Kun. He's a great player, man. That guy,
Yeah, I know. I love watching
our
him.
forward. Yeah. If there is a chance that we're not going to get Cavani, which is a lot of rumors have been going out also that he might go to Manchester United, I'll be devastated because I wanted Cavani, but Sergio Aguero would not be that bad of a player to replace him.
That bad? He'd be amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
he looks awesome out there, and it makes total sense with our all Argentina. I mean, basically, we're trying to create the Argentina, national team
National
here.
team here in Miami.
Yeah, that's basically what we're trying to do here, and we'll sprinkle in a Canadian or an American here and there,
Yeah.
but basically,
just for show. Right?
yeah, just to sit on the bench.
But no, if it's Sergio Aguero, dude, we'll take him. I think anybody would take him. I think he's still good enough to play in Indian League. He's scoring a lot of goals. He's up there with Cavani, man. So
can they get him here? That's the question. Is he still too young? So too young meaning he's still got another contract in England waiting for him. I mean, he said he's leaving Man City, right? So there's also reports that eventually he wants to finish his career at Independiente. So
in Argentina,
but that's like you said, like we were talking earlier. That's later down the road. There's been a lot of articles and a lot of comments of that he is eventually going to end up in Miami, but I just think it might be too soon. He might, it'd be amazing though.
Right. Yeah, if the money's right, we know our ownership has deep pockets. If they're willing to do it,
back up the Brinks. I mean,
they were willing to do it for Cavani. If Cavani doesn't come, well, there's this other option. I think either one of them would be awesome. We already have a young Argentinian player who's, I think he's 19, Carranza. He's a forward. And he's up and coming. We'll probably need just another forward. But like I had mentioned earlier, we have a lot of offensive players and not many defensive.
Right.
So I don't think that's going to be our problem, the offense. I'm worried about the defense.
And that kind of goes, Anthony Manzano is asking us in the chat if there's any young strikers at the same price as Pellegrini that Inter Miami can sign for DP money that are of Hispanic descent. And I'm sure there are. That's like a tough question because, it's there's so many I would have never known who Pellegrini was some months back.
Right.
So there are so many players out there but that's not necessarily the position they need to be worried about. is striker, like you're saying.
Right. Yeah, I think that's it's.
But
There's a lot more strikers than there are defenders.
here's a thought. Here's a
Um,
thought: is maybe they're going to use the expansion draft to pick up some of your MLS players that have experience, some journeymen that maybe are defensive minded. So maybe that's where they plan on getting some of their defenders. If you don't want to I don't think you want to overpay for a defender. I don't think you want necessarily to do like what Chicago did when they signed Schweinsteiger and eventually he's playing defense. He wasn't brought in to play defense, but he ended up playing defense. To me, that was a waste of money. I don't want to see them spending DP money on a defender. We've got defenders in the United States. I'm not, of course, there's some international defenders that are naturally better, but I'd rather bring in some defenders with MLS experience and that know the league, know the travel and everything like that. So use the expansion draft for that, and then just later on, use your DPs for that more exciting, offensive or midfield general. The old Valderrama position.
Exactly. Well, Peter, there's also another player they're talking about that I think this one came out today or yesterday. It's Juan Fernando Quintero. He's 26, a Colombian. He's an attacking midfielder. He plays for River Plate. He's a good player, man. He's 26.
He's on the national team.
Not bad. I think he's been called up.
I think I've seen him.
But he's a good player. He's still young.
There you go. That's a good example for Anthony.
Yeah, he's a good one.
So
I wouldn't mind him coming either. He's like I said, River Plate needs money too. They're hurting for money. They haven't won very many championships. They could win the Copa Libertadores now. They might end up selling him.
We could help River Plate with some money, and we could take their coach.
That too, and we're coming to that in a little bit.
Well, I mean, we can help them out if they're cash strapped.
Right. Well, we definitely want their coach. So.
Yeah, and Colombians, and a popular Colombian. Here's the thing: is I started going down the path of saying because I was reading what one of the comments were like, yes, Colombian, and to thinking of getting players that represent your community in some ways is smart. In other ways, I don't think it is. And the part that I say I don't think it is if you're wearing the beautiful Miami Fusion jersey. And the Fusion tried that. The Fusion tried that in the past as well. They got one of everybody, right? And it wasn't necessarily a good team the first couple of years. It wasn't a good team until they just said, forget the nationality. We just need good players. So I don't care if you're from Colombia. I don't care if you're from the Ukraine. As long as you're good, that's all I care about, and people will come. So anyways, yes, a Colombian in Miami would be exciting, and it would probably ignite some of the Colombian community, but you just got to be the right player, which, he sounds like he'd be a fun, exciting player.
I think he would, man, and he's not that old. He still has a chance of maybe they could sell him to Europe or something if he has a couple good years here. We'll see. We'll see what develops, but there were also other players. David Silva, I think we spoke about him last week. He's a great player still. He's up there. He's 33 years old. He's an attacking midfielder. I'd love for him to come. He could be our midfield general. And whoever's up top, he'll just be feeding them balls.
Right.
Who else? They also mentioned you talked about him on your video. What's his name?
Who did I?
German guy.
Oh, Ozil.
Yeah.
Once I do the videos, it's gone, and I forget about it, and I move on to the next one.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's another good player. Well, some people will say, they don't like him. He's got an attitude, but he's another attacking midfielder, and he's still rather young. He's 31.
Dude, I don't care about his attitude. If you can get Ozil, I will take Ozil. I mean, I remember watching him when he was a little younger, playing in Germany, playing for Werder Bremen, and he was just so exciting to watch, and still is exciting. Yeah, okay, maybe he has an attitude here and there, and maybe rubs some people the wrong way, but just imagine what he would do in MLS.
Right. I think either one of those two players is good. I'd take David Silva over him, but beggars can't be choosers, Peter.
Right.
I'll take either one of them. And like if we can't get Cavani, if we can get Kun Agüero, I'll be happy with that too. One or the other. There's alternatives, but they're all rumors.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Well, also,
until the team says it's done, it's not done.
Yeah, exactly. And something else Eric Thomas had put in the chat a few minutes ago, that when we were talking about maybe some MLS players that you can get from the expansion draft, he says, guys, Lalas Baker. How come I get all the hard work? You got to start pronouncing. You got to start reading this chat, because I can't.
Yeah.
I can't say any names.
All right.
Or unless
I'll do it next time.
Unless that's the joke of the show, that I can't pronounce anything. But Lalas is a young hot defensive player currently playing in Colorado. He's on loan from Columbus, but he's looking for a decent paycheck. We can get him, and he will be definitely less. So that's somebody you could probably pick up in the expansion draft.
Well, we'll see, man. I'm looking forward to that expansion draft, but the thing I'm most looking forward to, and I think we've covered most of the players, Peter.
All right. Hey, I noticed we also have another guy in here that's a couple other people in the chat now that I've noticed. Christian Barnett, how you doing? And Holman Rios is in, so welcome everybody. Thanks for chiming in. So
Andres Hoyos, I see there.
Yeah. Thanks for spending your Sunday evening with us.
Yeah.
All right, so I think the next topic you want to touch on, Ed, is this one right here, coaches. So we've got a list of coaches up on the screen that, they're available. They're at the end of their contract. Obviously the number one at the top of this list is Solari, and has been the popular opinion here in Miami and South Florida. Also, Orlando was interested in him, but from what I understand, the Orlando thing, it didn't happen. So it sounds like it's not going to happen. So it sounds like they're more focused on right now on Oscar Perea. So
he's a local coach. Well, at least I think he was in Mexico. Right?
He is currently in Mexico, is my understanding. But he coached DC. Coached Dallas for a bunch of years, coached Colorado as well. But he is very familiar with Luis Muzzi, who is the general manager over in Orlando. And he was in a kind of assistant GM role in Dallas, so they know each other well. We know Muzzi from his time here with the Strikers. He was
and Miami FC.
Exactly. So... Anyway, so it sounds like Solari may have kind of dried up over there, so he still may be on the market for us. I don't know.
It could be. I've also heard that he's going to Ecuador, but then Ecuador has been saying that they were going to get Klinsmann.
Yeah, so. didn't your Ecuadorian mafia tell me that he had signed?
No. Well, it looked like
that's
it,
what
but
I had heard.
now,
I heard he had signed.
Now they're talking about Peckerman going over there. That's another good coach. He coached Colombia. They're just. It looked like Klinsmann was a done deal, but he wants to coach, from California, because he lives in California. So I don't think what team would want their coach to live in a different country, thousands of miles away, and coach their team. No, it just doesn't make sense.
Hold on. Hold on, Ed. We got to stop everything. Nicholas Gautier says, no, not Nicholas. Nicholas is saying something about Mourinho could possibly go to Bayern. No, the one that got me. Oh, did he delete it? He retracted it. I think it was Anthony. He retracted it.
Oh, yeah, he took it out. Yeah. What did he say? What did he say?
He was saying he wanted Maradona to coach here.
Oh, man, I don't know about that.
Come on, Anthony. What are you talking about? Here we go. Oh, he put it in.
Too bad we don't have a...
In my opinion, Inter Miami should go after Diego Maradona. No.
That'd be a lot of trouble.
God.
Yeah, he'll do something controversial. He might snort coke on live TV. You don't know what this guy's capable of doing, man.
Coach. I mean, he hasn't stuck around anywhere very long as a coach. I mean, he hobbled out on the field because he's got a coaching job now. And I remember
in Argentina.
Right, and I remember him hobbling out he could barely walk. It was pretty
Right.
sad and funny, but
Yeah, we saw. As it's funny because yesterday we were talking about that with some of the guys, and they were talking how they showed him on the bench, and he was just like spaced out.
I don't think
Maradona.
he's all
He was
there.
spaced out, and the assistant coach was the guy that was doing
Exactly.
everything, and they just focused on that. How he was just like sitting there, you know, days, all days now.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Eric Thomas is with
Anthony.
us. Hell to the no, he says.
Sorry, Anthony. I mean, it would be good TV, I guess. Following him around, and we'd get a lot of bad press, but press.
Yeah, no. So, the others on this list here, if you go down the list, you've got also Luis Fernandez. His contract is up in Paris Saint-Germain.
Paris Saint-Germain.
Jose Mourinho.
The special one.
No, don't want him for this. You know what? He is maybe he is an accomplished coach. Maradona's an accomplished player, not coach.
Right.
Mourinho is an accomplished coach, but just the show will all be about him. Everything will be about. You know what though? At the same time, so here's the thing: is the show is his show too big for Miami? It actually may be good for MLS, because he's just a nut.
Right. Oh, he's like Zlatan, except he's
exactly
a coach.
is what I started thinking.
He's just gonna go crazy. And people are talking about how Bradley walked away from an interview.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
Well, Mourinho's gonna do that all the time.
All the time.
Yeah. It's gonna be like what's he gonna do next? So kind of like Maradona would have been like that too. And what other players we have?
Anthony's asking who is the coach for Juventus or Atletico Madrid? They can enter Miami and get one of those coaches.
For these, I'm not too familiar, man. I haven't been following too much Italian soccer lately. I've been more. I follow mostly the English league, the Premiership, and a little bit of Spain,
right.
But Spain is usually the same two teams all the time, so it's kind of that's why I like the Prem, because you never know who's going to win.
Anthony always throws us these wild questions that are like, I'll be honest, I watch mostly MLS. I don't watch a ton of other leagues. I do watch a little of the Italian league that's on the app that I have, ESPN Plus. I do watch a little bit of that, but I don't know. I don't know who's coaching those guys.
Yeah. Well, we got Gattuso is another guy. Renato Gattuso is one of the guys that was mentioned a lot for Miami. One of the things, I don't know if you saw, Big O usually has Michelle Kaufman on his show every, I think it's Wednesday,
right,
at 2 p.m. I think it's at 2 p.m. She was talking about how she thinks, why are these guys waiting? Why haven't they announced somebody yet? They said they were going to announce a coach at the end of October.
Yeah.
Well, October came and went, and now it's November. Now they're telling us that it's going to take another month. She kind of mentioned that, that kind of makes you think. There's, oops, sorry, I dropped something. There's a coach that is in the Copa Libertadores right now. We kind of talked about one of the players from River Plate. Gallardo, yeah, he could be the coach that they're waiting for.
Well, could be. You already said they're cash strapped. We got cash.
Yeah, and we want. Give me your players. They're in the Copa Libertadores, so that team's pretty good. Bring these players. Bring us your coach. We want him.
Yeah.
So he might be the one.
What's funny is, before anybody ever mentioned Gallardo, as far as newspapers or anything like that, just fans, just in some of our chat groups that we have going on, that was the name that people were mentioning constantly for months and months and months and months. From the very beginning of the team being announced, people were mentioning Gallardo. So he definitely would be a fan favorite. People have been asking for him. So I guess if they can afford to, give the fans what they want.
Right. And he's got a little bit of, we mentioned it before, he's got a little bit of MLS experience. So he's somewhat knowledgeable of what this league is about.
It sounds like everybody we've mentioned, every rumor, it doesn't sound like they're going to go after anybody with any kind of MLS experience. It's going to be somebody that's world renowned. And, the profile that they keep talking about is definitely not MLS coach. So that means they're definitely going to have to hire somebody that, as an assistant coach, that is ready, that knows MLS well. Somebody like that, like we've talked about it, I think on a previous show, like Pablo Mastroeni. Somebody who knows MLS. He was a head coach. Now he's trying to rebuild his career in the coaching ranks.
And he played with the Miami Fusion.
We would like it, yeah. You could.
So why not bring him back?
Another name similar to that, and I don't even know what he's doing right now, but Jay Heaps. Jay Heaps coached in MLS for several years for New England after he was finished playing. So, he's been out of the league a little bit. I'm not sure if he's coaching in the lower levels or not. I don't know where he is. But somebody like that as well. So if they're going to go after one of these big names that we keep mentioning, any of these that are on this list, then they're going to have to bring in a very well-qualified assistant coach that knows the league really, really well.
Yeah. I have to agree with you on that, Peter. We'll see who they can bring. I think you also mentioned that one of our coaches, one of the academy coaches, somebody's looking at him for one of the MLS positions, right?
Yeah, and One World, One Goal loves your jersey, by the way, Ed.
Oh, yeah. Fusion.
Yeah. They were also mentioning some other coaching news going around at Tab Ramos. I don't know if you saw that. The famous U.S. midfielder is gone on. Finally got a head coaching job in Houston, so that's good. Congratulations to him. He was never going to get a job here because that's just not. No. They're just not going. They're going after bigger. They're not. You're not getting that job in Miami. Not till years later. But not now.
Right.
Anyways, you were talking Jason Kreis. He's being interviewed for the position at Real Salt Lake. So there was rumored a little while ago that that Real Salt Lake asked for permission. So it sounds like they got permission. So they are apparently they're going to interview him, talking about bringing him home. So that's he's had a few coaching jobs. The only one really that he was successful in was Real Salt Lake. So I guess bring him back there and see if he could do it again.
Rebuild that team up again. They didn't do too bad this year. They made the playoffs, but we'll see what develops with the Real Salt Lake. As long as they don't beat Inter Miami, I'll be happy.
Yeah, I mean they made the playoffs, but they still let go of their coach. So, they were working with an assistant or that had caretaker type role. So they definitely have a hole to fill there. Let's see, what is Anthony now asking? He's got a question for you, Ed. What do you think? Do you think it makes sense for Miami to hire a coach that has experience winning a championship in the Premier League or Bundesliga?
It could work out. I just don't think any of those coaches right now. I think they talked about Moyes, who was one of them that they mentioned. There's Mourinho, who also came from who's available. I don't know if they're familiar. I think it's somebody that needs to at least be somewhat familiar with MLS.
I don't think that's happening.
I'm more for. Well, that's why I like Gallardo.
That's the only option. That's the only option for that international coach that has MLS experience.
For me, that's the guy we have to go for.
Yeah.
That's my stance. European coach,
unless you want to,
like you said, somebody that maybe if we get a good assistant coach,
right?
That could work out too. If we get somebody, but from somebody from Europe, I'm all about Gallardo.
Yeah, the only other name I'm thinking, and I don't want him necessarily, is Henry. I mean, he's your international that has MLS experience, but I'm not down with that. I mean, he's a great player, but I don't necessarily want him in the coaching role yet. Let's see him prove himself a little bit more first, I think. But
yeah, I agree.
So Jason Kreis, as far as to Anthony's question to me, is hiring a coach that has that is a championship coach. Just in general, I don't care what league it is. Hiring a coach that is a proven champion, I think, is important. Somebody that has a winning mentality, has a history of winning, that knows how to bring that winning culture here to Miami. I think that's important. and it may be more important than some of what league it is. As long as it's it's a big league. It's Argentina is good enough. If you're the coach of River Plate, that's good enough.
Yeah, I think. Well, you know where I stand on that.
Yeah, of course.
What other coaches are? Gosh, man. Zidane might be available. Although he's starting to turn the team around. Barcelona just lost too, so they basically caught up. But yeah, man.
I mean, there's a bunch. There's Gattuso still on the list, but one of our guys was saying he was supposed to be getting a job somewhere else. You've got Wenger's on the list. He's too old.
Yeah.
Allegri.
Yeah, I think
Allegri is apparently leaving in June. Juventus. So I don't know.
Well, all right. Well, I think we covered the coaches for now. We already said we want Gallardo. That's it.
You know what? Give me Gallardo or Solari, because again, I don't know if Solari's the answer, but I kind of started paying more attention to him and really looking at his resume and kind of what he's done and everything in it. It does kind of check off a lot of the boxes. So,
speaks English. That's also important.
Solari, I think, still makes a lot of sense. So if they can still make that happen, especially if he doesn't go to Ecuador.
He's got experience with youth as well, so at least with the lower division team. So I'm kind of okay with him.
All right, Ed. Well, I think that about wraps it up. A lot of great commentary in the chat today. Really appreciate all that. We're trying to keep these shows somewhere in the 30, 45 minute range. Of course, we could go longer if you guys want, but.
Before we go, a little bit of commentary on the MLS Cup that's coming up.
Forgot about that, Ed. Thanks for reminding.
Yeah, MLS Cup. It's going to be Toronto FC versus Seattle. It's going to be in Seattle. If you guys saw the playoffs, Seattle basically hunkered down and sustained LAFC. They defended, and it was all counterattacks. And their Peruvian player, their forward Rui Diaz, he's perfect for that. I know he's criticized a lot for the Peruvian national team because they say he plays good for his league team, but he doesn't play good for the national team. He's basically a counterattack type of guy, and he showed it. He had a brace against who they played. They played forgot who they played. No, LAFC.
Right.
And they shut them down, and Vela was like non-existent or whatever. So that was a good game, well planned by Seattle. But now they're going to be playing at home, so it's a whole brand new ball game, and it's against Toronto. That was something that we were going to bring up, Peter. Yeah. We were going to talk about how the playoffs are so different. The best teams are not there.
Yeah, I was let down on the playoffs. I'll be honest. The team that we went through last time we did do a show, you were asking me who I thought was going to win every game, and I pretty much got them all wrong. So,
me too. I was hoping for the Galaxy would beat LAFC. It didn't happen.
I didn't see that happening, but I also didn't see what happened to LFC happening.
Well, LAFC beating Seattle, I thought that was going to happen, but it didn't happen. They watched the videos, and Seattle hunkered down, and it was all counterattack, and that's how they beat them. They did their homework.
And then Atlanta not making it as well. And Atlanta was a weird story this year because they started off really poor. Everybody was so upset with the coach and thinking they got the wrong guy, and he turned it around, and Atlanta started playing like Atlanta. And then at the end, you start thinking, okay, they deserve to be in the championship, and they should be there. So, and of course.
Well, I remember we were talking about Atlanta, how they're spoiled. You said, you said, oh, these guys are spoiled because they're basically they just won the championship, and now they want to get rid of the coach. Boo hoo hoo. But he turned it around. I mean, that team's and they made the playoffs, and everybody thought that. They, once LAFC was out, that they were going to be the ones to win it again. It didn't happen. Once again, the playoffs, this playoff system, I don't know, Peter.
Yeah, and that's one of the things a lot of players complain about, mixing words, combining words, making my own. A lot of players
Your
complain
own
about,
dictionary.
Zlatan. He would rail on the MLS playoffs, and this is just, I've never really complained about the playoffs. I've kind of enjoyed them over the years. They've never really bothered me. I was, because I'm American, I'm used to them. I think they're fun. But this year bugged me. This year was one of those years where I said, "Damn it, Zlatan's right. Playoffs, maybe they suck." Because the best teams did not necessarily move forward, in my opinion. So,
Right.
But
That's the problem with the system.
at the end of the day, playoffs aren't going anywhere. It's an American league. Americans in general like playoffs. All of our sports have playoffs. They're not. I don't see them getting rid of this anytime soon. So, and there's extra games. There's more. Look, those playoffs. Even though I don't agree with the outcome, they were exciting. The TV ratings were better. It got people talking. It did everything the ownership wants it to do.
Yeah, and that's all that matters, because
it's a business.
It would have been, well, yeah, you're right. If it would have been, by the table like they do it in England and other leagues, it wouldn't have been as exciting.
Right.
They would have LAFC would have won it a couple of weeks ago,
and we would have all said, "Well, of course they won it." They did,
Right.
It wouldn't. It would be maybe anticlimactic because they're expected to win. So here I am. I just argued for getting rid of the playoffs. Now I'm arguing for keeping them.
Well, because we're thinking of like Americans
I
do.
don't know what to do.
It makes it exciting. I mean, I feel bad because some of the teams, they worked their ass off. They played well throughout the whole season. And like Zlatan said, you do that throughout the whole season. You come in first place and you don't even win the championship.
Right.
So.
Well, anyways, next week is the MLS Cup final, so that'll be a lot of fun. And you know what popped up on my timeline on Facebook is that a few years back, well, more than a few years now, when we had an MLS Cup watch party, and we had the MLS. No, it was a playoff watch party, and we had the MLS Cup at the watch party at Mickey Burns. Do you remember that, Ed?
Yeah, I remember. It's come to town a couple of times because they do like a tour. Some of the Spanish stations have, their central offices are here in Miami, so they come by, and we've been close with Major League Soccer throughout the years, and Gabe Gabor, hi to you, and thanks for always supporting us. He was able to make it happen, and we had a good watch party at Mickey Burns. Man, that I remember. Wow, a lot of time has gone by.
It popped up on my Facebook, and I was like, oh, wow, I remember that. That was awesome. Anyways, so MLS Cup Finals next week. It'll be a lot of fun. So make sure you check it out. We'll talk about it next week. And we had a question in here, Ed. We could touch on it real quick. There's really no news, but any news regarding Miami Freedom Park? No, not since
since somebody's been tripping.
Reyes be tripping,
right?
But
yeah, he tripped.
Yeah,
but that was, I think we talked about it last week. It's kind of a good thing for us. I mean, I feel bad for him, but
it's still going to get talked about. Apparently, it's going to go. It'll just get moved to the next meeting. So apparently he's fine, and I don't know if it knocked any sense into him, but hopefully it did. So
he needs to.
As of that, there's no news. Really, at the end of the day, Miami, Inter Miami says, that there were so many delays that were brought upon them. Now, Reyes is complaining that Inter Miami's dragging their feet, but yet the city got involved with picking what companies are going to do the research that needs to be done on the traffic patterns and the chemical in the dirt and all that stuff. So they wanted input in that, so it slowed down the process by weeks, and then they took a month or two to hire their legal representation. So the city has been more at fault for dragging their feet than the team. And however, having said all that, the accusation that Inter Miami would like for some new blood in the commissioner's seat, I'm sure is not completely inaccurate either.
Right.
Because
Right.
that's just smart. Yeah, if you've got a bunch of guys, if you got one in particular, you got a guy, Willie Gort, that's term limited, he's leaving the office, he's leaving. It makes sense to try to wait it out until somebody else comes in that may be favorable. Of course, whoever wins may not be favorable to the project too.
Mm-hmm.
It's a risk, but it'd be a
Right.
risk worth taking if you already know that this guy's already a no. So the team says that is not what they're doing, but I mean, I think there could, I'm not going to put any words in the mouth or anything like that, but it does make sense if that were happening.
Right. Well, as long as it passes, as long as they agree to the contract, that's what the people voted for.
Give the people what they want.
And yeah, give them what they want. And if not, we're going to go out there and throw all those commissioners out.
Yeah. All right, so let's wrap this sucker up. Anthony threw out a few more players in there: Giovanni Rana and Alex Mendez. He would like. There's a ton of players we'd all like, but we'll see. We just got to wait. So we could talk more about some of these more exciting players next week. Hopefully, there is some new news next week. We're coming up really soon on the expansion draft, so that'll be in the news in the very near future. So. Thanks so much for everybody for watching. Also, make sure to watch tomorrow's construction video. I already finished that, edited it, and it's ready to go live tomorrow morning. We get a nice, good view of the roof that has been installed, and something fun happened out on the old construction site. Ed, we got a shout out.
They're gonna have to. They're gonna have to wait and see that.
I won't say any more. But people notice us when we're out there now. So, because I'm out there every single weekend.
Everybody's got to watch that video. Watch it tomorrow. It's going to be on bright and early, 9 a.m.
It'll be there. Also, on Wednesday, I have a sit-down interview that I think you're really going to like. I think it's really, really interesting. So, for the local news, we're sitting down with Paul Dalglish. So, it's a really cool interview. Even if you're not interested in Miami FC and you only care about Inter Miami, I urge you to sit and listen to the interview because he was really, really interesting. He's got a passion for being a community-driven team, has no interest in competing with Inter Miami, and wants to just find their place. And he's got a very interesting take on academy and the quality of players that should be in that academy. And so anyways, it's a nice interview. I went to the Miami FC office, sat down with him, and that's pretty cool to be able to sit down with somebody who's been all over the world playing at some of the highest levels. His father is a legend. He played in MLS. It's really cool. And to be honest, it was even more fun once the camera went off and we just started talking about how difficult it is to play in MLS in the summer. So it's like I want to go back and talk to him again about some other topics. That'll be out on Wednesday. Yeah. So awesome. We've got a lot of good stuff.
Shout out to Ricky Ricardo. He's out there watching us. He's one of our guys. Hopefully he'll come back soon and do some videos for us in Espanol, hopefully. And that's about it, Peter. I think we could wrap it up.
All right, Ed. Well, something I just noticed as I had to rebuild this entire program to do the show. I didn't bring in the outro, so we're just gonna have to end it just by saying thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure to like and subscribe, share. Hey, we're really close to 1,000 subscribers. Help us get to 1,000, everybody. So tell everybody that you know to subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next week.